Our guest today for Rotary E-Club of the Greater San Fernando Valley is Vicky Tejerina from the Rotary Club of La Cañada in Córdoba, Argentina. Buenos días, Vicky.
Hola, Mel. Buenos días. Buenas tardes, aquí ya.
Sí, aquí también. We'll translate this for the gringos in our E-Club. Don't worry. You're not in Córdoba today, though, are you? Where are you today?
I'm not in Córdoba. I live in Córdoba, but I'm in a little town up north to Córdoba called Sarmiento, where we have a house for our holidays.
And
it's a very nice house built by my great-grandparents. So I'm here with my family, and we're having a lot of fun.
And the house has been in the family for a very long time.
Oh, yes. 5 generations so far.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, I have nobody here where I live except the cats, and they don't help pay for it at all. But we're used to that. So we know you're a member of the Rotary Club of La Cañada in Córdoba. Córdoba is a larger city than we think, correct?
Yes, it's a very big city. Around 3 million people live there, and it's the second biggest in the country after the capital city, Buenos Aires.
Now,
it's a very important city.
Tell us about your Rotary Club. When did it start? How many members do you have now? Tell us what your club is like.
Okay. First of all, I must say that I was a Rotaractor when I was younger, and so was my husband too. And in September 2000, we were invited by other ex-Rotaractors to start a new club. And there were about 20 people. We met the first time at a hotel called La Cañada Hotel. That's funny because after some time we chose that name for our club. La Cañada is a famous stream that flows through the city of Córdoba. And well, on that first meeting, the interesting note is that there were 7 married couples, and all of us had little kids. So we agreed on having meetings on Friday evenings at 9:30 p.m. You will like that. At 9:30 p.m. And we had to choose a place where we could take our kids. And we found a place. So we had our meetings, and our kids were in a different room with a babysitter. And another peculiar thing about our meetings was that we didn't have any dinner. After the meetings, some of us went back home, others went to a restaurant, and we had dinner after 11:30 p.m. or midnight. That was the start. We were chartered on the 21st of June in 2001. And after many years, our kids are not very little now, so we changed. Now we went back to the hotel where we first met, started our meetings, and now we have dinner, and our kids are no longer with us. That was the start. And well, at the beginning, I would say that the average age was 35 years old, and that was unique in the district. We were a very dynamic club. I would say 90% were ex-Rotaractors, so it was different, a different club with lots of projects and too much hard work.
35 is still very young for most Rotary clubs.
Yes, that's true. But it was interesting. It was very interesting.
So the late night meeting time would be very unusual for here. You and I
Yeah.
have talked about that for a couple of years now. I think it's funny that frequently we are 4 or 5 hours apart, depending on the season in time zones, and usually eating dinner at the exact same time. Were your
Yeah.
were all the young children sleeping with the babysitter during the meeting at that hour, or were they?
No, no. In Argentina, times are completely different. No, our kids were playing and jumping and no, having fun.
That's not after bedtime for children in Argentina at that hour.
And not the reason we chose a Friday evening, that I forgot to say that, is that there is no school on Saturday, so no problem with time.
Yeah, not
Yes.
a school night.
Yeah, so our meetings were based on having our kids with us. So the husband and wife would attend the meetings.
I'm
That
just
was the
I'm noticing for our audience that for the first time, you don't need to look. I can see this for you, that the fish has moved over. 2 fish have come over to this side of the. They want to be in the video with us. So. So we now have 2 additional guests. Argentine.
Yes, actually, there are 3.
There are 3. One is too shy to come over.
Yes, I think so.
So we've now met Rotarian fish in Argentina as well. We go everywhere in our e-club.
That's great.
When you have your Rotary Club meeting, how formal? Not suggest it isn't fun, but how formal is the Rotary Club meeting that you have?
No formal at all. We keep some formalities, but not too much, not too many. The person in charge of the meeting, or running the meeting, is called Macero. In my experience, what I've seen in the USA is that you don't have a Macero, what we call Macero. The president does that. So we have a Macero. And yes, the fact that at the beginning we didn't have it just work, and work, a lot of work. And we also have meetings during the week. The different avenues of service or committees had meetings during the week as well. But our meetings were kind of informal and fun.
Do you have a guest speaker often, or is that very rare?
Often, but not always. Often, but not in every meeting.
So many of your meetings are more planning sessions for the projects that you're doing, more than a formal presentation. Is that okay to say?
Sometimes. No, I wouldn't say that. No. Maybe it's information, or sometimes there are debates, but not much planning.
Now, you started, you said, in Rotaract.
Yeah.
And so you were in Rotaract, and so was... did you meet your husband, Fernando, in Rotaract, or did you already know each other?
I knew him, and in fact, I sponsored him. I invited him to join Rotaract. I joined Rotaract because a school friend invited me when I was 19. Then I invited him after a year, I think. I was a member of Rotaract Córdoba, and that club was sponsored by the biggest and oldest Rotary club in the city. And I always say that we were among the best clubs at that time. And an important thing to say about Rotaract is that it's community-based, not university-based. And in my opinion, that's interesting, because you share your ideas and your views of the world with people with different cultural and educational backgrounds. That's interesting.
I agree. Most of the Rotaract clubs in North America, I believe, there are some community-based, but most, all in my experience in Southern California, are they start as school-based in college.
Mm-hmm.
But that often means that when the Rotaractors graduate from college, they're gone.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's bad. I was in Rotaract for 11 years. Mm-hmm. 11 years. That's a long time. So you have the chance to learn how to talk in public, how to work in teams, how to lead projects. You learn to have fun, to make friends. Most of my closest friends are ex-Rotaractors. So for me, Rotaract was a big thing in my life. Big thing in my life. I learned so much about life and working with other people. And when you are young and you are passionate and you fight, you make enemies, you make friends. It's fun. It's fun. And for example, I had the opportunity to help in the organization of the world's biggest training event for Rotaract, which is called ERAUP, and it stands, the letters stand for Encuentro Rotaractiano Argentino Uruguayo Paraguayo. And it takes place once a year in January. It lasts one whole week. And it can be held in Argentina, Paraguay, or Uruguay. And in my club, particularly in my club, we had many interesting service projects, working with elderly people or orphans. The project I remember most, because it lasted for many years, was that we celebrated Children's Day in a very, very isolated town in the north of the province, a poor area, very, very poor area, where children from other places gathered there in the school. We spent a weekend with them. For example, we organized workshops for the parents on health or nutrition, for example. And other Rotaractors worked with the kids, entertaining them. Others worked with food, preparing the meal. We gave them toys and clothes. So that was a very, very nice project. The place was called Pozo Nuevo.
And that was every year for several years.
Yes, a lot of years. A lot of years. There is only the school, 2 or 3 houses, and no more.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, nothing else. Nothing else.
Now, does that Rotaract club still exist? Is that Rotaract club still going?
Rotaract Córdoba, yes. And I think it still is a good club, a very good club. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. And 4 years ago, we started our own club, Rotaract La Cañada. And now my daughter, Julieta, is a member of Rotaract. We are very proud of this club, very proud. There are very, very, very nice young people there, good leaders, hardworking, enthusiastic, very, very nice people. We're very proud.
And your daughter started in Rotaract at the same age that you did.
Yeah, she did. Yes,
exactly.
Right.
Inside information. I already know how old she is.
Yeah, she's 19.
Yeah. Maybe she'll walk through behind you later, but I bet that now that she knows we're recording, she'll hide.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I hope so.
before we started recording, we did have a chance to say hello to her. So we warned her that someday she will be our E-Club guest when she also is as fluent in English
I
as her madre, the English teacher.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
our E-Club members will read your biography on the program page. So we won't talk about everything about you yet. Now, you had an
Okay.
interesting experience involving Rotary and the United States of America. You were a team leader for Group Study Exchange. When did that happen, and where did you go?
It happened in 2008. That was almost 6 years ago. And we were in North Carolina, District 7710. It was a unique experience. You know why? Besides all this world understanding and goodwill and peace, the unique thing was that this was an all women team. So
Wow.
can you imagine that? How hard it was? It was hard, for example, to decide on the color and the style of the uniform, or to decide the gifts that we were going to give our host families. Well, jokes aside, it was a very good team. The ladies were excellent ambassadors, excellent ambassadors. We learned a lot about American culture. We made friends. We had the privilege of attending the Peace Conference at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, where Rotary has one of the peace centers. And we met Rotarians working there and many alumni as well. That was a very interesting and enriching experience. In fact, when we returned, one of my team members applied for that scholarship, and she got it and graduated in North Carolina successfully.
So you mentored a peace scholar who is now saving the world.
We can do it. We had the chance to be there, and well, it was nice. When we returned, we spent only a few days with the team that was visiting us in our district. We didn't have the chance to spend a lot of time with them. We were visiting a foreign country at the same time, almost at the same time.
Yeah, in our experience in our part of the world with Group Study Exchange, sometimes they overlap, as you say you did. One time, one group was there for a month, and then at almost the same time, they all flew here together, and the other group was in the other country for a month. It's interesting that I've heard about it both ways. I missed that program. I wish we still had that.
I miss that too. I mean, we met the team there at the beginning of our trip, and then we met them again when they were finishing their experience in our district. But if you allow me, I will do some criticism on this program, because my experience with teams visiting us was that when they don't know the language, I mean Spanish, the exchange is not as rich as it should be. You understand?
Of course.
Because they can't communicate. And that happened with this team from North Carolina. I mean, only one of the team members spoke the language. So it was hard. And this poor lady was exhausted because she was translating the team all the time, all day. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. So, well, that's my criticism.
Did you find in your experience with GSE, and I know later you were your district's GSE chair.
Yes.
I'm saying GSE. It's IGE in español.
IGE. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well.
Yes, exactly. I was the chair for 3 years. Well, the same experience. We had very, very nice people visiting us from Ohio, North Carolina, Wisconsin was the last team, Italy, but most of them couldn't speak Spanish, unfortunately.
It's interesting that was never made more of an important part of the exchange process. Mm-hmm. I know that when our district here sent the final team we sent to Japan, I know that they had learned some basic Japanese, but they were not at all fully conversant in Japanese. I know they tried very hard, but everything was translated. The Japanese team that came here, they had different levels of proficiency in English, but mostly they were very good. We were able to converse. Interesting pieces of the puzzle. Now,
yes.
what I want to talk about a little bit before we finish is that, and we've shared a little bit about this with our E-Club many months ago, but just a little, but your club has one very big annual event right in Cordova. We want to hear more about that. What is that event?
Okay, that event is, I would say in Spanish, Festival de Músicos con Capacidades Especiales. In English, maybe a festival for disabled musicians. It doesn't sound well.
Maybe challenged is the word that we use more often now.
Because we don't like the word disabled. We don't like it. And that's an event that we've been doing for 13 years since we started. Since right after we were chartered in 2001. What is the purpose of this event? We want to give these challenged musicians the opportunity to show their talent on stage, on the most famous and prestigious theater in the city. And they have the chance, most of them have the chance to perform with the collaboration of well-known artists. We look for famous artists, dancers, or instrument players, or singers, or bands. We invite them to perform with these challenged musicians. That is that is the main objective, but we also have scholarships. We give scholarships for challenged musicians to help them learn or improve what they want to do with the music, dance or play an instrument, or learn how to sing, for example. So we have the help of sponsors for this.
And I know, having seen some of the pictures, and of course what we are going to do is share again the link to one of your videos from the event on this page here today. But I know that some of your, I love, if we translated it from Spanish literally, capacidades especiales, musicians with special capabilities. That's much nicer than disabled. But you have performers with Down syndrome. You have blind performers.
Deaf people. Yes, who can dance and move around on the stage. Yes.
So we'll share one of those videos. And this is an annual 2-night event. It's a very large undertaking.
Yes. We have a jury that selects the candidates, So we have the best on stage, the best on stage.
So it's exciting, and you're already probably planning for the next one coming up. What time of year is this?
Usually in October or November. It depends on the available dates that the theater provides us.
Yes.
But it's usually in October or November. And we've had challenged artists from all over the country and other countries like Brazil or Colombia. So we hope that someday we can have someone from the USA. Sponsored by a Rotary Club
In the United States to send there. We'll need.
Send here.
Yeah.
We'd like an American artist to come here.
And see if we can get an American celebrity. I can think of one American music star who I believe is married to a woman from Argentina. So maybe we could get him to participate in that someday.
That would be great. Great.
I can see him in my head, and I'm blank on his name, which tells you how disconnected I am from pop culture. Why can I not think of his name? You know who I mean.
But he's a Canadian.
He's Canadian?
Michael Bublé.
Oh, I forgot that he was Canadian.
Yes, he's Canadian.
So he's the good Canadian-born pop music star.
Yes, and he's married to Luisa Lopilato, an actress, an Argentinian actress.
So even though he's from Canada, we'll work on that because they're a very different country, but Canada and the U.S., we both have hockey, so it's okay.
And I love Michael Bublé, so I will be very happy. Very happy.
Well, we'll find a way to start working on that from here. But I wish we had more time, but as you know, Rotarians will hit you if you make the program go too long, even though it's not very Rotarian. So thank you very much for teaching us about Rotary in your part of the world as part of our series, and I hope we can talk about more things in the future between your club and our e-club.
Oh, yes, I would love that. And thank you for this interview. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Vicky Tejerina, Club Rotario La Cañada de Córdoba, Argentina. Muchas gracias.
No, gracias a ti y un saludo a todo el club.
And please say the same.
El Gran Valle de San Fernando.
And tell your club we all said hello to, whichever language you prefer.
Okay, I will.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.